Hey, what's going on YouTube? Alabama Reloader here. So today's video just going to be kind of short, sweet, going over the range results from some testing in 350 Legend. If you remember, I picked up a 350 Legend. It was a CVA Scout. So it's got the stainless barrel, threaded and all that. I put a Crimson Trace 3 to 9 by 40 scope on it. That's the scope I picked up from Cabela's for like 90 bucks. I picked up the rifle over at Mr. Big Guns in Huntsville. I think he had it for like $325 or something like that. So I picked it up, and when I was initially breaking in the barrel, I was mostly using the Hornady 110 grain VMAX and Hodgson H110 powder. And I had left over some, this is back from a previous 350 Legend rifle that I had. I was trying to work up a load using the 125 grain shock hammer from Hammer Bullets, and in that rifle, that was a Winchester XPR, those shot terribly. I only loaded up 9 rounds. I only loaded up three shot groups, but the first two 3-shot groups were terrible. So bad that there's a video on it. You can go back and find that. I think it's in the 350 Legend playlist. But it was so bad that I didn't even shoot the third group. I was like, I'll just pull the bullets and I'm not going to waste my time. Well, that group was 26 grains of H110 with the 125 grain shock hammer, and it's actually not this one, but if you'll go back and watch the results video that I just posted. So I shot those 3 in the CVA Scout, and it was a 3-shot group. The third shot was down here on another piece of cardboard, but it was like right at an inch, and that was very promising. So I wanted to go back and I wanted to sort of evaluate how those shot in this new CVA Scout. And so I went back and I started with 26 grains of H110. I loaded up 5-shot groups this time. And this is, so you take those out, and that's just some random, no clue what that's even from. But this was the 5-shot group at 26 grains. So you can see, obviously not as good as that 1-inch group that we shot down here. 5-shot group, you know, had some horizontal dispersion there and comes in right at 2 inches. So not that great. I went down, checked the target, and I was like, that's not exactly, it's better than the Winchester shot for sure, but not exactly what I was hoping for. And then come down 26.2 grains, and then we went from the horizontal, right? Then we went to some weird vertical group, basically. I mean, just you stack 5 shots one on top of another, just very strange. Still, it came in just under an inch. Even with doing that, it came in just under an inch at 26.2 grains of H110. I jumped up 26.4, and then that's where that group showed up and showed out, right? So, and I was taking my time in between each group, so that's something too, that when I go on these range sessions, typically I've got one bipod that I use, and I rotate it between all the rifles. I'll shoot a group with a rifle, I'll switch it out to a different one, I'll shoot, and typically when I go, I've got, you know, multiple rifles with me because I'm testing stuff all the time. And so it gives everything a chance to cool back off in between groups and all that. So so these were pretty evenly spaced time-wise. So the barrel was relatively, you know, cool every single time I shot a new group. And then, so that was 26.4, and then 26.6 kind of opened up again to 1.5 inch group. So, but in general, this is very promising, and I'm super pumped about how well it shot in this rifle, because again, I had basically given up on that bullet. You know, if I would have kept that Winchester, it would have been, you know, probably a tough task finding a combination where it actually shot well and had to do a lot of work with it. This, I just loaded up some H110, went out there, it shot really well. That group was awesome. I loaded up, so I just took that 26.4 grain charge, and I loaded up 21 rounds, yeah. So these 15 here, plus another 6. I shot 6 yesterday to get some velocity data. And our average velocity for that particular charge weight the 26.4 grain charge weight is 2513, so 2,500 feet per second. Not necessarily, you know, blazing fast considering it's a 125 grain bullet. You should be able to push that quite a bit faster depending on the powder choice that you go with. With H110, it's typically a pretty decent velocity option in 350 Legend. Little gun is one of the best, but I don't have any little gun on hand, and two, I'm probably not even going to mess with that just because that particular powder, I've had such issues, you know, so many issues with it in terms of inconsistency velocity wise back when I did load, you know, using that powder. So I kind of put it to the side and really didn't want to, you know, kind of use that as my go-to option. I'd like to explore other powders and just try to push and see what we can get. So H110, that, in my opinion, that's a really good hunt and load, right? 125 grain bullet. We're going to be shooting probably 150 yards and in, 2,500 foot per second. That's going to get the job done. So that's what the finished product looks like. So yeah, I shot 6 out of the 21 I loaded. That left me with 15. I'll probably shoot a couple just to make sure the scope is zeroed, and then this will be some hunting ammo for the season coming up. So brand new Starline brass, CCI 450 small rifle Magnum primer. Overall length, the one I go with is, I think it's 2.175 maybe, something like that. It's somewhere in that range. I'll have to go back to my notes exactly, and I got it in my notes written down somewhere. But so that's our 350 Legend update. I've also loaded up some 200 grain. These are cast bullets from CW Longshot. So make sure if you're interested in cast, you know, getting into casting bullets and all that stuff, you've got to go check out his channel. Make sure you subscribe to him. He's like the grand wizard of cast. So finally got back around to loading up some of these, testing these out. I shot these in the Winchester also. It's in that, I believe, that same video where I talk about the hammer bullets. I think it's in that same results video, and it didn't really, you know, they didn't shoot amazing in that Winchester. So I want to give them a shot here in the CVA and just see how they do. This is the same thing with H110. So I just loaded up 9 because I had 9 pieces of brass left that hadn't been shot yet. So out of this batch of Starline, so I just loaded up those 9 there. We'll give those a shot, see how they do. I'd like to get a deer on the ground with these as well. So that's it. That's our, those are the results. And yeah, let me know what you think. Let me know if I would appreciate any help with cast stuff like 200, 220 grain cast, these hollow points, because I've got some 220 grain cast bullets he sent me as well. If you guys have been shooting any cast stuff, load data would be greatly appreciated. If you could just leave a comment, maybe what powder and sort of charge weight range you're operating in, that would be great. I went with H110 on those, but it'd be nice to have some other options. So that's it. We'll catch you guys next time. Y'all have a good one.